All right, I think we'll just start and just keep letting people come in as they arrive. So, morning everybody. I'm Bevan. I work for the New Zealand Dementia Foundation. So we're just going to start things off with a karakia for the morning. So, kia hora te marino, kia whakapapa pounamu te moana, hei huarahi mā tātou i te rangi nei, aroha atu, aroha mai, tātou ia tātou katoa, hui e, taiki e. And what that translates sort of to is may peace be widespread. May the sea be like greenstone, a pathway for us all this day. Let us show respect and compassion for each other. So I think that's a lovely way to get us in the right uh, frame of mind for for this morning's hui.
Nā koutou katoa, ko Gita whānau, ko Susan Toko Ingoa, ka nui te mihi ki a koutou, nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa. So I'm Susan G, and I add to Bevan a very warm welcome to you all. It was a brisk start to the day here in Waitaha, Canterbury. So today's theme is about new ways of learning, and we're very privileged and delighted with the speakers we have today to share their expertise and their passion with you. So our first speaker is Tara Sani, and Tara brings a background in general practice and in working with communities, and she's been very involved over the last few years in the development of e-DiVA, which is a quite ambitious project to provide a online learning and information resource for whānau carers. So I'll let Tara tell you all about it.
Kia ora, tēnā koutou katoa, ko Pangarango pe maunga, ko Kalimalang pe awa, no Indonesia aho, ko Tara Sani toku ingoa. Hi everyone, as Susan already introduced me a little bit just now, I'm Tara, and today I will talk a little bit about my project. So yes, this is about a project that I've been doing the past 4 years. Initially, this is my PhD, but I'm actually keen to still work on this project with the amazing team that has been supporting me. And this is why I want to share it with you today. I know this is not perfect yet, but we want to actually make this available, useful for a lot of people. So I'm really keen to hear what you thought, any feedback, any input. And yes. Now, we all know that dementia is a global and national health crisis. Globally, there are 1 person every 3 seconds who develop dementia. And in New Zealand, the statistics showed that in 2020, there are about 70,000 people living with dementia. And in 20 years, so in 2040, so 15 years from now, this will actually grow even bigger. And the interesting thing is the Maori, Pacific, and Asian communities will actually age faster than the European community by then. And so the number will be going up much quicker. And in New Zealand, ethnic differences show up quite prominently in unpaid care. There is a cultural choice, especially in Maori, Pacific, and Asian communities, to care for their loved ones who are already diagnosed with dementia at home, and usually living longer at home with family providing care, but with little support or training. And we can see that the Maori, Pacific, and Asian communities, especially, spend less, use the publicly funded health care less, and a lot of them are shouldering a lot of the care burden themselves. So this is imperative that we develop accessible resources that is acceptable for carers from diverse backgrounds. And what is there for carers, actually, especially family carers who are providing unpaid care? In the global setting, the World Health Organization developed an online resource called the iSupport for Dementia. And this is designed to be adaptable to different cultures and language. So far, there has been adaptations in more than 37 language. Some of them are already done, some of them are in the process. And this resource is available in a format of manual book in a PDF and an online platform format. So what do we do in this project? And the e-DiVA project is actually adapting this iSupport resource into a culturally appropriate version for New Zealand. And this is actually part of a wider cross-country collaboration with 3 other countries, with Australia, Indonesia, and Vietnam. We are collaborating to develop the online platform that hosts the adaptation from each of this country. And our initiative is called Empowering Dementia Carers with an iSupport virtual assistant, and e-DiVA for short. And we developed a website called the e-DiVA website where you can find the adaptation from all these countries. And in New Zealand, the people behind the scene for this project is made up of a very diverse group, amazing people I've been working with. Sarah Callum, Gary Chung are both psychiatrists, and then there's Professor Hemi Fanga, who is the Maori research lead in this project. I'm also supported by Dr. Katie Perry and Dr. Susan Yates and Elisa Moller, the research assistant. And we are also supported by a lot of advisors from different backgrounds, from the Asian Pacific Maori communities as well. Before we started, I conducted a scoping review and see iSupport adaptations across the world, and it's amazing how the body of evidence grow in 3 years, from only a couple of papers to actually more than 20 papers on adaptations. And it really shows that this resource is adaptable across different cultural and linguistic settings, and that informed the next steps how we did it in New Zealand. So our project has 3 stages. The first one is we adapted the manual first to actually adapt the content to fit New Zealand needs. And then in the second stage, we developed the online platform and user tested that with a group of cares and dementia care practitioners. And in the last stage, we conducted a pilot randomized control trial to see whether it's actually feasible to deploy, and whether it's acceptable, it's usable, and whether we actually need a larger study to prove its effectiveness. In the first stage, we did focus groups with family carers and dementia care professionals to see their perspective on the generic iSupport and the needs for adaptation. And generally, people think that the resource is actually good, a lot of case examples that are relatable, and it will complement the existing resources. But people think that they are too bulky. Sometimes the content is good, but delivered in an approach that is a little bit too negative, showing caregiving as something that is all negative. And also, there are some input as well about how the images looks childish, and we try to improve them. What we were told is that we need to improve that to show more positive approach. That caregiving is not all negative. There are positive, rewarding aspects of caregiving too. And interestingly, a lot of people actually agree that when it is translated into a website format, hopefully it will be easier to access information. And there is also a suggestion to add more multimedia resource, and such as videos to aid learning. So this is what we made change on the manual. We actually added a section on person-centered care, a section on prevention, how to maintain your brain health, and we changed the images that was childish to more like real life people's picture, and use a more positive, empathetic language, especially when talking about case examples and the suggestions what to do. We try to frame it instead of like a right or wrong. This is right approach. This is a wrong approach. We try to discuss it in a more nuanced way. And then after we already adapted the manual, we developed the online platform, the website, and the supporting videos were initially developed together cross country across the 4 countries. But then in New Zealand, we adapt the videos further and we refine them. We revise the script, we redo the voiceovers, and put it in the website, and we do a user testing with the same group of carers and dementia care practitioners that help us develop the manual adaptation. And then we further refine the website. A little bit of sneak peek of the video adaptation for New Zealand version. We have 50 short videos, 2 to 6 minutes of animation videos showing different situations, common situations family carers often face. We do it with Kiwi voiceovers by our network. A lot of the voice that you hear in the videos are actually dementia care practitioners or even carers or people around us actually. And we also make some changes to show more New Zealand culture there. So this is what we have in the New Zealand version. We have the online course, iSupport online course, and then we have the animation videos. We also have a local service directory, and if people want to find information, they can just type in this keyword search bar. And if people don't know where to start, there is a small questionnaire they can fill out to get personalized recommendation. And after that, after it's user tested and further refined, we did a pilot randomized control trial. The people we asked to participate are unpaid carers who provide face-to-face care at least 4 hours a week for a person with dementia living at home and had access to internet. Initially, we targeted to recruit 20 Maori and 20 non-Maori carers with high stress level and randomize them 50-50 into getting access immediately or waiting for 3 months before getting access. And we did follow-ups at baseline, 3 months and 6 months to measure their stress, their care burden, their quality of life. And at the end of 6 months, we also asked them their feedback about the website. We ended up recruiting 52 people, and they're majority female. A lot of carers are indeed female. And although we initially just wanted to recruit people with high stress, but we found there are a lot of participants who actually have a lower stress as well, and we don't want to leave them out. So we recruit them all as well. So around 69% of them have high stress. And actually, the majority provide care for more than 40 hours per week, which equals full-time job. And some of them are still also working full-time. So we can imagine the burden, the responsibility is so big. And so the pilot randomized controlled trial is not powered to actually prove effectiveness. We don't have a big sample yet, but we can see that in the feedback in the feedback in the exit interview, actually people find it very useful. So 3 themes that we found are engaging with e-DiVA, challenges of using e-DiVA, and future directions and beyond e-DiVA. I'm just going back to this slide because I think I skipped something. What's interesting is although we didn't see any effect on reducing stress or improving quality of life, at the end of 6 months, actually people 86% of people are still using it more than once a month, and they rate the usability as high, excellent, over 80% out of 100. So it shows that they think this is user friendly and they find it easy to use, and it doesn't trigger any anxiety when they're using this. So in terms of engaging with e-DiVA, people think that e-DiVA is a credible resource and they feel reassured that what they're doing is right. Even for carers whose care recipient already passed away, they still find it valuable. And a lot of people also say it helps them manage their expectation, and instead of focusing on behavior, the change of behavior, they're focusing on the person and letting the person be who they want to be. In terms of how people use it, it's quite interesting because there are people who love the online course because they say it's structured, so it's easy to find which module they did last. But a lot of people are short on time. So the videos are very popular because carers say they can just go on that and watch that for 2 or 3 minutes when they don't have time. And that actually is what we hear in the challenges as well. It seems the challenges of using this resource, the bigger one actually comes from the role of being a carer itself. Being a carer means you don't have much time for yourself, let alone to like sit down and read or watch videos. It's more dominant than some of the technical issues that they encounter, such as forgetting their password, for example, to log in. And what's good to hear is the website's flexibility help partially address this. So some carers say that with the videos, it comes with subtitles. So sometimes I can just watch it in silence and the person I'm caring for wouldn't be bothered by that. And it also brings us to further discussion on how this resource could be of help. Most of the carers we interviewed think that it's ready for public use and it should be disseminated. It should be shared through GP practices, through clinicians who are diagnosing dementia, so get geriatricians, psychiatrists, so that because a lot of carers are actually aware that the clinicians are really short on time, so they think it will really help the clinicians as well to direct people instead of like saying, oh yeah, look it up on Google. They can just give, okay, go to this website and try to read through the information there. And a lot of carers also shared to us about different family dynamics. Sometimes there are conflicts with family who don't live in the same home because they don't experience the same situation as the carers. And they think actually family members who are not home here can actually use this website and see some of the things that can happen now and in the future, and it might actually help with like strengthening the final relationships to actually help having a better dynamic in caring as family. And the important thing is although people speak positively about this resource, everyone actually emphasized that this doesn't replace human support. It's great, but the emotional support piece, you still need that from humans. So it's more to enhance instead of replacing existing humans. So taking all those feedbacks, we have all these future directions in mind, and we want to hear from more people as well. We are still waiting for the cross-country results with the other countries. The preliminary result shows that it seems it's showing a trend of helping reduce the burden of family carers. There is an association there, but we don't know yet until we actually get all the results. Um, and in the meantime, in New Zealand, we think that we shouldn't wait until it's proven effective because it's a low risk intervention. So we believe that we can start sharing this while still refining the resource as well. And we've been doing road shows to several cities. We went to Whangarei, to Hamilton, to Christchurch, and to Gisborne to share about this, and also go on this webinars to share about the resource. People can already start using it. I will share the link at the end. And we also got suggestions from the carers that we met in those cities for potential expansions. We're suggested to add more language and like translate it to more language. And also it might be very useful for care workers that just started their career as well, and also for youth, because a lot of carers say that if I told my kids to do this and that, they might not want to follow that. But if they go on the website themselves, they can see what's happening with my koro, what's happening with my dad, and what can I do to help, and they might actually be more willing to learn about that. And in the meantime, we also continue to develop this resource. We heard that it might be easier for people to just have that as a mobile app, so they don't have to type and go on a website every time. So we are trying to develop that into a mobile app. Hopefully, it can be equipped with a chatbot, with a human avatar, powered by large language model library with that can give dementia information on dementia based on evidence that are reliable, but in a human way, in an empathetic way. But we want to hear from you as well if you think this is something that people would use. In summary, e-DiVA is a visible and culturally acceptable resource and valued by carers. And carers has reported benefits through the information, practical guidance, and it's scalable, and it can be a very valuable post-diagnostic resource for carers in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And what we want to emphasize is that digital dementia tools work best when they are credible, flexible, and embedded within and not instead of human support. So that's my sharing, and this is all the organizations that have supported us. I'll share this slide through Susan and Bevan as well later. So if you want to go try have a look at the website, you can. But I'll just quickly share my screen to show the website. Do I still have time, Susan?
Yes, please do show the website. I'm sure
Okay, yes.
We're all really excited about seeing the website.
I'm just okay. So this is how the website looks like when you already log in. At the moment, the website requires people to set up an account to actually access the content. And we are aware that this might be a barrier, but so far, this is what we have, and this is what we are trying to simplify. Hopefully, we can make something that doesn't require people to create an account. But in the meantime, people do need to create an account, but the account actually allow people to save what they've been browsing, and also they can get personalized recommendation with the account. So this is what it looks like. You have the iSupport course here, and it consists of 5 different modules, but people can actually start from anywhere. They don't have to start from module 1. They can jump to whichever module interests them. For example, this is about change in behavior, or they can just go to videos and find videos that interest them. Or they can actually just type here, for example, I'm looking for something to help someone who has sleep problem. If I type sleep, it will suggest videos or modules that are related to sleep. And also, if you don't know where to start, you can actually go to profile, and there is a small questionnaire that you can fill out, and you can change your answer anytime if the situation already changed. After filling out this questionnaire, there are 4 questions. After filling this out and submitting, it will give you content suggested here in the content for you. So you can browse these ones first that might be the ones most interesting to you. And there is also a local dementia service directory here, but at the moment we still don't have everything in New Zealand, and we want to keep this as a living document. So if you have any local service you think should be there, please let us know, and we will put that up there as well. I just want to show one of the videos that we have that we adapted to New Zealand. Hopefully the sound plays. Let me know if the sound doesn't play.
Hi, I'm Nico. I sometimes help care for my dad, Ian, who has dementia and lives with me. My mum, Maire, and younger brother, Tiki. Last month, Dad and I were home alone for lunch because Tiki was at a friend's place and Mum had to take her sister to the airport.
Nico, help your dad with his veggies. I'll catch you both when I get back. Ka kite.
See ya! Here, Dad. After lunch, I made Dad a cup of tea, which he usually likes. There you go.
What are we having for lunch?
Lunch? Steak. We've just had it.
Where's your mother?
She's driving Auntie Sue to the airport. Like she said, she'll be back later on.
What are we having for lunch?
I just told you. We've already had it. Dad, please drink your tea.
Well, where's your mother?
That night, after Dad had gone to bed and I told Mum what happened, we looked up the e-DiVA website to see what it said about a person repeating the same things over and over again. It seems that people with dementia often ask the same question repeatedly, and we have to remember that Dad's not doing it on purpose. The main thing, after trying to work out what's causing him to do that, which in this case seems to be mainly when Mum's not here, is for me to try to keep calm and just answer his questions, which honestly does get really annoying. But I have to try to remember that he generally doesn't know the answer to his questions, or remember that he has already asked them. And if I get impatient, he's more likely to get upset too. Another good idea we found is to find ways to distract Dad with other activities. The next weekend, with Tiki and Mum not here, it was just me and Dad for lunch again. There you are, Dad.
When are we having lunch?
We already did, Dad. We had roast pork sandwiches.
Did we?
We did. They were delicious.
Where's Mairi?
Mum's out, but she'll be back shortly.
Oh.
Wanna watch the rugby?
Well, who's playing?
It's the All Blacks and Wallabies.
Go the All Blacks!
You gotta hand it to the All Blacks with a 6-point lead at half-time.
After Dad began watching TV, the other thing I tried that e-DiVA suggested was to write down the answers to his questions.
When are we having lunch? Where's your mother?
Here you are, Dad.
Sunday. We've had lunch today, roast pork sandwiches. Mum's picking up Auntie Sue. Mum will be back soon. Thank you.
Dad still repeats things a lot, sometimes even when Mum's just in another room. But overall, these strategies definitely seem to work and help keep him that bit happier.
For more information, including further advice on possible ways to deal with a situation like this, and for other sources of assistance, please refer to the e-DiVA online course.
Hey, so yes, that's a video that we developed. Thank you for listening to my presentation. So I'm happy to take any questions. And if anyone wants to set up an account, and if you encounter any problem setting up an account, please don't hesitate to contact me as well.
Well, that's just great, Tara. And people were saying in the comments about what a invaluable resource this is. And one of the first questions that came through is, is it available now? Can people start using it and sharing it?
Yes, so it's available now, and I will share the link in the chat, and also maybe while we are doing the questions, I can also put up this QR code. I see some people have been asking as well why they cannot see the video. So at the moment, people needs their account to be approved manually, and after this webinar, I will quickly contact our admin to manually approve accounts that are just created, so you can start browsing the content. But yes, it's already available out there.
Great. And Tara, am I right in thinking that on your PowerPoint you said that you have 50 videos available?
Yes, 50 videos available.
Wow,
yes,
that's just amazing. And they're such a lovely length. They're really nice bite-sized length. Yeah.
Yes, and they're all following several families. So you can watch one and then you see them in another video, and it's about a different situation. But we understand it's animation, but we try as much to portray the situation as real as possible. So hopefully it can resonate with people as well.
Yeah. And we have a comment from Paul who says that as a family carer, it's that another good resource at 2 a.m. You know, that thing when the real people are asleep, that it's just amazing to have something that is always there and you're struggling to cope. And one of the things that Paul says is that, will it continue to be updated, do you think?
Yeah, so we do hope that we can continue to update it and add more information. So if you go on the website and you see there's something that you think should be there, we don't have it yet, please email us. Please don't hesitate to email us. The email that I put that I share, I will be the one replying to that. So this is the face behind the email.
You are e-DiVA. I know that's great. And you were saying about how you can also go through a course, which is it's like almost like going through a book online, but the videos are integrated into that, aren't they?
Some of the videos, yes, but you can actually go on the videos itself without doing the course. So you will still understand whatever you're looking for without using the other one. It can be independent as well.
Yeah. But just that there is a whole course that you can work through, or pick and mix if you're a reader and want to get more in-depth information that way.
Yes. So a lot of a lot of the carers actually use it kind of like as a mix and match. So when they do have time to delve deeper, they go into the course. But yeah, as earlier someone said, if it's like at 2 a.m. and you don't have a lot of time, you go and watch one video and then okay, maybe that gives some idea. But the message that we want to convey is that what we put here is not the only right way. It's not the only solution. It's just some ideas. It might work for you, it might not work, but um the message is that there are a lot of ideas and you can keep trying different ones, and what might be right for other people might not be right for you, and the other way around.
Which is just a fantastic message. And just to reinforce, all the comments that are coming through about how exciting it is to have this available. And thank you for the years of work that you have put into this.
And
so
yeah,
so
thank
much.
you so
Now,
much. Susan
just
was actually one of one of the people who helped us develop this.
a little bit. But one of the things, Tara, that I believe that you are going to be shifting the website address to a permanent home coming up. Is that right?
So yes, at the moment, what we have is shared between the four countries, and we understand that there are some limitations with it. For example, this account creation, we want to actually remove that, but we can't because it's part of a four-country website. So currently we are focusing on developing the mobile app first, but we are actually looking into migrating this, bringing this home, as in like bringing this to New Zealand domain, but not in the short term. So in the meantime, please go on that website, and if at some point we do have to move to a different domain or something, there will be a link from that website anyway. It will be linked
Right.
up.
And a very, very simple domain name. It's there in the chat, but just e-DiVA.org for people who are looking for that. So, Tara,
Yes.
just thank you so much, and congratulations on the project, and congratulations to Tara, who has just had the oral for her PhD exam. So, milestones all round. So thank you
Thank
so much.
you. Yes.
Now, our
Yes.
next speaker is it's just another wonderful bundle. So Caroline Bartle has got a wealth of experience that she brings, including being the founder for Three Spirit Training in the UK, a really important developer and provider of person-centred training for the health and social care workforce. And in New Zealand, Caroline is the director of the Alzheimer's New Zealand Dementia Learning Centre. And Caroline has spent a lot of time thinking, she's a thinker, and particularly about the Jekyll and Hyde, the good and bad of documentation and technology, and how we can accentuate the positive. So I'm going to hand over to Caroline.
Thank you. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Dementia Foundation, for letting me talk to my community as a dementia practitioner. And I just want to say a big shout out to the Alzheimer's New Zealand team, because I see also a few of them on the call as well. I'm just nervously sharing my slides in the hope that I don't have the same issues. Let's try and go here. Okay, can everybody see? Okay, I just need to move everyone. Okay, now I have had a long career in dementia practice, and 20 years of that at least in workforce development. And so my journey to my research has not been usual. It's been unusual. And so I wanted to really share with you a little bit about my story to really get the message across really how important this work is to me and how important it is to the broader community. So I've got a little video here, and I didn't make it especially, Susan, although I could have done with AI. I think these days, I think you can whiz little things up like that, but I don't know how. So just if we can just play this just quickly. I know I'm going to have to, phew, I thought we were going to have problems moving it on then. Unlike Tara, I haven't got a huge team of people working. Well, I'm solo on this research journey, but I have got a great team at Alzheimer's New Zealand trying to make some of this work actionable. But there's been a journey to get here. And so for many years, we measured the impact of our programs, and we were delivering about 100 programs a month in our busy months. It got busier during the pandemic, a lot of loss and bereavement programs, advanced care planning. But we invested a lot of our resource into trying to understand what worked and what didn't. And we could see that these are just some of our programs. We could see that actually a lot of the time training wasn't having the impact that we wanted to see. So that started me on a journey, and I think this slide is quite busy, so just bear with me. Over the years, what we did is that we saw things and we adapted and we tried to change things in ways. We learned a lot over those years. I learned a lot over those years. I learned, for example, that it's really important to care for the learner, the carer. We don't work in an easy industry. So thinking about what the front line is like and the challenges they have has to be part of the training strategy. I learned to work alongside people with lived experience, and I trained alongside Paul the other day for the first time. I see that he's on the call as well. And I also learned that it's really important to develop programs that fit the organisation. I learned a lot about using technology as a way of reaching practice. We would deliver one program, then say, go and try something, and then deliver another program. We also learned a lot about job aids. We learned about these infographics, which eventually brought me to New Zealand. And this one here at the bottom, which you can't see very well, but I'm going to talk about a bit later, the importance of reflective practice when you're back in the workplace. We learned all about how to use technology to help people recall and remind, and years and years and years of work, of sharing and learning. And then when I eventually turned to the literature about 8 years ago, I realised that actually we were looking in the wrong place. Now, I'm keeping this session interactive, so I should have mentioned at the beginning the true trainer in me. So there's a link in the chat, and there's also this QR code here. So how do you learn best? How do you learn best? See if we can get some people going on this. I've got 0 at the moment. I'm really hoping it'll work. We did test it earlier. And I have to literally only give you a few seconds because I've got so much material to get through. Have we got anybody on it? No. Yes. Hooray to the 2 or 3 people. Thank you so much. 4. We're getting there. It's like a race. Keep going. Out of 112 people, we can do better than 8. 13. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So we're getting to where, okay, so those of you that miss it this time around, there will be other opportunities. So I am going to move on, but we can see here that most people learn by doing. Now, if you learn by doing, isn't that strange that most policy and funding in dementia workforce development is directed at training? Imagine if we understood how people learn when they're doing. Imagine how we could harness it for good. Now, dementia training is a subject that's been widely researched, and the research at best is mixed. Clear evidence shows that the ones that do work, they work with what we call multimodal component approaches that embed learning after the training, do things like mentoring, supervision, job aids. So why doesn't training stick? Well, if you think about a washing machine and a part breaks down, you find the faulty part and you replace it. The parts don't change in response to each other, so you can isolate the problem and fix it directly. A complex system like care isn't like that, because the parts are alive to one another. Change one thing and everything shifts in response, often in ways you couldn't have predicted. So replace the broken part, i.e. fix training, doesn't work. But our understanding of learning has evolved immensely over the years, but our policy and funding direction hasn't moved with it. Like, we used to think that people learn by thinking, by listening to things. But then we started to understand that people learn by working together, and that's where communities of practice ideas evolved. Then we started to understand that people learn by doing, and that's certainly true in dementia practice. We learn a lot by just trialing things and seeing if they work. And that field of work came from notions of play and understanding how people learn through play. We then started to look at the more post-human stuff, which is where I sit, is how the tools of practice that we use influence how we learn. We then started to understand a lot about living systems and complexity theory, and that we understand that actually often what it's about is putting in the right conditions so that the organisation can flourish. And this is where the notion of practice leadership that comes out of my research comes from. Now, one of the things that helped me to really think about the theories that I hang my ideas on is something called socio-material. It sounds quite academic, but it's really quite simple. And it's the idea that the things we do aren't just shaped by people, but also the things around us. If you think about these glasses that I'm wearing, a person without glasses might struggle to read, but you add glasses and suddenly they can read and do all these things, and maybe even diagnose patients if they're a doctor. The ability doesn't belong to the glasses or the person alone, but it's the combination of them. So it's a bit like, if you think about all of these things on this slide here is what makes the knowledge worker. If you imagine you're driving to work one day and your GPS takes you off because it glitches down a completely different dark alley, but you just happen to meet the man of your dreams down there, and he turns out to be a prince of a multi-million fortune. You jet off, have children, and live happily ever after, all because your GPS took you in the wrong direction. It's a silly example, but it makes a really serious point. The technologies have a power over what we do. So when I came to this research 8 years ago, and congratulations, Tara, on your oral, my doctorate's due in 5 days after 8 years. But these are the questions that I came to. So I wanted to understand how people learn in and through work, particularly in the engagement of their day-to-day problems. I'm really interested in data because I think it can help or hinder the way organisations learn. And I was also looking at what the opportunities were for learning while people are working. So I carried out my research here in Aotearoa. I've been here for 4 years nearly now. I don't know where the time's gone, with 2 amazing organisations, aged residential care organisations. I was able to really slow down, and what a privilege it was to be on site, working in workforce development all those years, and actually being on site and just listening and looking at you, really soak it up. It's such a privilege and a joy, to be in that environment. So what I did is I was able to really slow down and look at the micro practices in a lot of detail, and I looked at all of these scenarios. And what was analytically significant to me is that the place that had the most learning was the place without any technology. And that is the place directly with care. And when you're a post-human researcher, as I am, you deal with a lot of tensions because, care and technology don't always go very well together. So I spend a lot of my thinking time really trying to push boundaries in very uncomfortable ways. So when I had all of this data and I was looking at it, I was a bit like that crazy professor from Back to the Future, trying to make sense of where all these million threads were taking me. Now, back to this. When you're trying to solve a problem for dementia, rank these knowledge types in order you naturally draw on. When trying to solve a problem for someone living with dementia, rank these knowledge types in order you naturally draw on them. Be honest. Okay, now this is quite difficult to do because we've got a very broad audience here. We've not just got professionals, we've got people with lived experience. So it's interesting to see. We've only had one person so far, so let's see if we can get a few more going. Okay. I just really want you to think about, in this situation, what the right way of knowing is, but can you access it at the point that you need it? We know, for example, that sometimes getting access to lived experience can be difficult. We know that supported decision making is really underutilized. So thinking about what knowledge we need at what point is quite critical, and often those things are embedded in the way that our digital infrastructures are set up. So it's really nice to see lived experience more at the top there. And interestingly, research at the bottom. Maybe that's more to do with the makeup of the people that we've got here now. Okay, so out of all of this research that I had, oh God, I'm going to run out of time. I know it. I didn't have, I wasn't able to go into detail with too much. So one of the things is a virtual meeting. And in this virtual meeting, it was amazing to watch. They were drawing on knowledge from everywhere, best practice guidelines, updates from digital care plans, interdisciplinary input, team experience, research evidence, informal conversations between staff. And what becomes really clear when you observe these meetings is that knowledge needed to solve a problem is never in one place. It's scattered across people, documents, systems, conversations. And what was really clear to me is that clinical problems seemed easier to solve as much of the data was present. But things like distress behaviour and issues around sexuality and intimacy were harder, not because staff didn't care, but because the data just wasn't available. I'm going to skip the next activity because of time. Now, another meeting that I looked at was a family meeting. And so these are really complex topics. So I really had to engage science and technology literature, workforce development, practice development, and dementia. What's best practice in dementia? And I had to bring all of those bodies of literature into sort of sustained conversation. And then I thought, well, how can I make sense of this? So I use something called translation, which is a study of how information moves through organisations, and it's used widely. And it looks at how problems are defined, how people are hooked into the problem, how people work together, and then how information is shared. So in this meeting, what's happening is that this is a meeting about David. The family are worried, the staff members under pressure. But she's professional, she's knowledgeable, and she's polite, and she's doing her best, working through the systems. She informs the family that David's doing well, his mobility is good, he's eating well, and he's doing well with his activities of daily living. I wrote in my research notes after the reflection,
Thank you.
the really big thing that came across for me was that we're talking about a husband that's lived with his wife for probably 50 years, as if he's a medical case, with no sense that the loss of fear the family feels since the transition into care, or our responsibility to restore that relationship in a way that we care for, the language that we use and the way that we present David to them, as David, not the person that's got this wrong or that wrong or had their bowels open. What they care about is the resident expresses their identity. Now, what I could see when I looked at it through this translation lens is that I thought about what would it be if we could look at it in a different way, a different problem, that David's experiencing psychological distress. The whole process would unfold differently. The conversation might become the central space where knowledge is developed. David's presence would be essential rather than optional, and the tools might also change. Crucially, such a framing would recognise the family's own experience. And one of the things that's been central in my research is understanding how we bring different forms of knowledge together. I don't know why there's lines over my... Can you see those lines? My mouse has just decided to graffiti my screen. Sorry. I've got no idea how to rub it out, so we'll have to live with it. So I think about it as a river. I think about the process of translation as a river. The water's the attention, the organisational energy, and each stone represents a moment where the direction is shaped. So if the problem's framed narrowly, the water goes off in completely the wrong direction. And what they're bringing, if we're not bringing the right people in, sometimes people are left on the riverbank, which happens a lot in dementia. The right people are not part of the conversation, and that there can be a professional dominance, sometimes a biomedical dominance. Now, I was utterly in awe of the amazing staff that were present, and this is another little story that another observation that I saw. I'm going to tell you it through story. The caregiver knelt beside the chair as she helped a resident who was unsettled. The woman's hands were restless, tracing the pattern on her blanket. There you go, love, that's bitter. In that moment, there was connection. The woman began to hum a tune. The caregiver joined in. They laughed. They recognised the song. The tension eased. And as the caregiver stood up, she felt a sense of joy. She loved her job when that happened. It felt like good work, maybe even great work, the kind that really gets noticed but stays with you for long after. She thought to herself, I learnt something then, I felt something then. Later at the nurse's station, the noise was constant. The phone was ringing, a trolley rattling past, someone calling out for help. The caregiver worried that all the things she needed to do next. She opened the digital care plan to the record and what had happened earlier. There were the boxes: mood, nutrition, mobility, distress. She hesitated, then clicked calm and moved on. The feeling of the earlier moment, the warmth that filled the room, didn't fit anywhere. The record showed a calm resident, but not the care that made it so, or the learning that would build from it. If you look at this practitioner, both bubbles are her job. The left, all of the medical stuff, which is what the recording templates often ask for. The right, empathy, listening, comfort, all of that stuff mostly isn't. But we all know in dementia practice, feelings matter most. But they're not just significant for practice, they're also really important for learning. Aristotle, a Greek philosopher, said, he worked out a very long time ago, that a message lands through three things: logos, the logic of the facts; ethos, the credibility of the person; and pathos, the feeling, the emotional connection between the story and the hearing it. He argued you need all three, and modern research keeps proving him right. We don't actually remember information the way a computer stores it. We remember what moved us. Emotion is the thing that tags the experience, that keeps going. It tells the brain this matters, hold on to this. That's why stories work, and every good dementia trainer knows that. A story carries a feeling. Now look at what the recording templates do. They capture logos beautifully, but they strip pathos out, the fear in the room, the moment someone settled. So when staff write up a shift, the emotional work disappears from the record, and the effects of how the information is mobilised. New staff get inducted into the record and the version of the job, and not the live one. I'm going to skip some of this so that I can get to the end. Yeah, because I know I'm running out of time.
You're doing great on time. Don't be.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Thank you. So some of the most important learning I observed was out of the systems altogether, in corridor conversations, during interviews, in quiet moments between incredibly caring staff. One caregiver said to me, I'm crying inside when my residents are sad. Another said, I love my residents. At first glance, these might sound like personal feelings, but they're actually expressions of professional knowledge. In dementia care, staff often come to understand what a person needs through something called emotional attunement, noticing when someone's sad, recognising when someone needs a hug. But this form of knowledge, it rarely appears in problem solving, not because staff don't notice things, but because they sit outside of the systems. And there's another consequence, because when people repeatedly see what good care looks like but can't act on it, it leads to moral distress, and that leads to problems in retention. So I see networks everywhere, because part of the way I work is something called actor network theory, and I understand care to be, and the way that we work, as things that assemble together. So I think empathy should be invoked in the assemblages, through data stories, through reflective practice, which is where some of the work that this is going to, which from the Workforce Futures Fund, is the development of a new technology that's going to start bringing some of those things to life. Now, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Language can be problematic. We know, if you've been in dementia care as long as I have, you either become the language police or you get accosted by the language police. Don't say the word wandering, don't say the word challenging behaviour, definitely do not use sundowning. These words influence learning in very powerful ways, but changing language alone does not help. We have to change the systems in which the language is embedded. Okay. What I observed is that there's very rich data. We count a great deal, and we count it well. But look at what travels through clinical and digital systems, and it's mostly the bio side of the biopsychosocial. That's not a criticism to practitioners. Every good dementia practitioner works from the foundation of biopsychosocial. They get noticed in the room and then they stop there. They do not travel, often a lot of the time. And when things don't travel, sense making gets affected. This is why what good looks like depends on where you stand. What looks like good care to one practitioner can look like good to another, different. The point is that not anyone is doing this badly. The point is that we've built rich infrastructures for the biomedical, and we haven't built the infrastructures that need for the psychological and social to travel to. Until we do, the biopsychosocial lens stays a value we hold, and our systems can't actually see. Now, I'm going to skip right to the end because I know that I'm running out of time. I just wanted to say that in my work, I did see a lot of power forces at play. So we zoom in and we zoom out, right? And we zoom out and we can see that the problems that this is causing, you know, the regulation and the corporate power, the fact that people are turned into a data point, and the fact that learning isn't always happening close to where people need it. So I started to think about what if we reverse those forces? And two of the main findings from my thesis are this idea of epistemic architecture. And every organisation already has an architecture, but it's often an arrangement that's made by accident, by compliance. I'm asking us to think about how we create it in a way that invokes empathy in ways, and this is where Cora sits in. The second is something called the Digitally Informed Practice Leader, and at Dementia Learning Centre, we've just launched our practice leadership programme. I do want to give it a little bit of a plug at the end. The challenge that they challenge the reflex that every practice problem needs training. Because they know where the real learning actually happens, not in the classroom, but in the flow of work. They cultivate professional curiosity. That's what they do. And they're very important in terms of reducing incidences. So I'll skip this, but just quickly, imagine if you had a technology that could do all of these things, that could help you to think about how did I feel? How did the person feel? What was going on in the environment? How can we support someone to be enabled, independent? What is the learning? How does that learning get shared across the organisation? And so all of this has come to, we're fortunate at Alzheimer's New Zealand to have funding to develop the Cora project. And we are in our co-design phase. If you would like to get involved in any way, please do contact Grace. Her email address is there. If you're interested in the practice leadership programme, please contact Ray. And I said that, sorry, I'm going to, no, I can stop scribbling on my screen.
Caroline, you are just amazing, and I know that there's people been, you know, really resonating with some of those key messages you've got. And I know that sometimes when we're doing brainstorming with teams, you know, the first question is, what do you know about people? And I love that word, you know, about knowing someone. It's not what do you know about their diagnosis, what do you know about, it's what do you know about them? And I love the way that you keep coming back to that. And while we're waiting for some questions to come in, I was just wondering, while we're waiting for the fantastic Cora, what are some of the ways that you've seen, you know, while you're doing your observations, about ways that in the meantime we can be really grounding into that, keeping coming back to what we know and what we're learning about the person that we've been doing now?
Yeah, so it's about mindful practice, which is really difficult with the pace that we work at. You know, we work at a very unusual pace in our sector. And so we operate on bias a lot of the time. And they've researched this, and that's led to a lot of critical incidences. So, a lot of teams, if you've got good support, it's about making sure that you can talk to the people in your team. A lot of teams that I've talked to have, a teammate that they can talk to and reflect with. So it's really thinking about how to reflect in your practice in the moments that you've got, because otherwise we're on automatic pilot all the time.
Yeah. And I know Oliver's just saying, thank you. It's really inspiring because she's thinking in a big picture about education at the moment. And one of the things that I know that you touched on really briefly there was that idea about, we talk about training, and you see training as just being part of the picture, and there's learning that we need to be doing outside that formal training, isn't there?
Yeah, and I've been in the UK. I train many dementia champions, and practice leadership is a move on from dementia champion, and training is part of it. And some training is highly impactful, but the didactic type delivery is not from an evidence base. When we're talking at somebody, that doesn't seem to work. But if training can work if it's delivered in a particular way, but most impact is on the ground. And so if we can cultivate a more kind of strategic approach to that through practice leadership that really leans into emotional intelligence, then we'll get a much better place. And my very talented Ray is here. He's just posting, I'm just seeing our relationship lead. So please do reach out to her. We're really keen to get this practice leadership going. It's been a long time in the making, and we'd really love support from our community to try and get it going.
That's great. And Ray has put the contact back up. We've had someone who's asked about the slides, and we'll be sharing the whole video that will be made available. Tara's slides will be available. Carolyn, you've asked that we don't share your actual slides just because of where you are in that delicate moment of not quite handed in, not quite published, just to wait until that's all firmed up before you're able to quite share the slides. But we will be sharing the other resources. And yes, people just saying how much they have learnt and enjoyed. So we are, in fact, running beautifully on time. So just if anybody does have any last questions for Carolyn or for Tara, just pop them in the chat, and we'll share those. Looks like again, thanks. And how much people have enjoyed the meeting. So, just echoing the thanks that are coming through to our two fabulous speakers, to both Tara and to Carolyn. You just share so much. You share yourself, you share your passion, and you're doing such important and useful work.
This is
and it was
hard.
a real privilege to be able to hear that today. So I'm going to hand over to Bevan, who will take us out with a karakia.
Thank you, Susan. And thank you to Caroline and Tara. It was a very great session with lots of in-depth information. So thank you very much. Kia tau nā manaakitanga a te mianaro ki runga, ki tēnā, o tātou, kia mahia te hua, mā ki hikihi, kia toi te kupu, toi te mana, toi te aroha, toi te reo Māori. Kia tūturu, kia whakamāua, kia tīna, hui e taiki e. And the translation for that one is, let the strength and life force of our ancestors be with each and every one of us, freeing our path from obstruction so that our words, spiritual power, love, and language are upheld, permanently fixed, established, and understood, forward together. So I hope everyone has a great day, and thank you all again for coming along.